This next part may be a little difficult too, because we are going to now you have written in your notebook about the things that you have had in your past, maybe even generationally, the things that you have that have come through your folks or their folks or cousins or friends or whatever, just the stuff that has kind of come at you, and what it's done as far as the lies that you've believed, the relationships that you've brought into your life, the addictions that you have fallen into or not, or not not addictions. Maybe you have fallen into just being depressed or just being angry or eating disorders or whatever, but just the junk that has kind of come from that. So you've already looked at those kind of things and how that's come about. You've even looked at, asking God to kind of reclaim that ground and surrendering that back to Christ. Is like whatever the devil meant to destroy me with, I just want to reclaim that and give it to God. But now I want you to ask for forgiveness. And the forgiveness is just weird for me, because I looked at forgiveness for what? It wasn't even my fault. I didn't do half of the stuff that was done to me, or I was kind of born in a place that had all this junk. And but no, that's true to a certain extent. But the things that I've held on to in my life, the anger and the unforgiveness and the bitterness or whatever, that's created its in and of itself, it's created its own stuff. And so I want to just say, God, forgive me for the bitterness that I've held throughout the years. Forgive me for not being able to forgive those that have trashed me, and not forgive them and excuse what they did, but just forgive them so that I don't have to keep carrying that, so I don't have to keep them tied up in that in some spiritual sense, but just forgive me. I don't want the devil to win it all here. I don't want these lies to go on in any way. If I can stop that from happening, I want to stop that from happening. And so now I want you to write down anybody that you could think of that you can say, God, help me to forgive this person, and literally say their names, talk about what the feeling was and is around that relationship. What did they what did they do, and giving that to God, and not giving it to God because somehow you made it right, or somehow it's okay that it happened. It's never okay, but nobody's ever going to be able to make it okay. Whether your parents have had affairs and you've had to live through that, whether you've been molested and you've had to live through that, whether you have been in a family where anger was so on the table every night, and you've lived through that. I mean, it's like none of that is ever going to be okay. Nobody's ever going to make that right. You can go to counselors until you're dead, and it may not make a difference in the long run. But what makes a difference is saying, God, I forgive them. I let them go and give them to you, and let God deal with all the rest of the stuff. I just can't carry it any longer. What's incredible about that is when he starts healing you in those areas that you are so locked up in, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I know, I mean, I was an unwanted kid. I, was molested for most of my life. I mean, all those kind of stuff. I've seen things when I got on the streets that was pretty ugly. My addictions took me to horrible places. And God just stepped in and said, let me now bring healing into those areas that you thought would never, ever heal. And, I just love him. I'm so surprised, but you've got to do this step. You've got to write down every single person and just finally say, I forgive them. And God will help you to write that down. God will help you to figure out what to say. If you get stuck, just ask the Holy Spirit, how do I go on? How do I write the next word? And take your time on this one. And if you have a problem, just go ahead and text me, and so we can walk through some of this. I'm just going to be praying for you during this next part, because this is kind of the secret of recovery, is that we have to let go of them. We have to let go of this stuff. We not only can come to a place of forgiveness, I forgive them, but come to a place where you ask God to bless them. And bless them may be just for their own healing, to bring them to a place where they can get out from underneath their addictions or their damage, and spiritually heal. And you may never have a relationship with them, but just being able to say in my mind, I want what's good for them. I'm just going to be praying for you, and do it. Don't skip any of these steps. God bless.